Hi dear Flared user, here is Beniamino della Torre, and here I am with some good news. We are talking about a new version of Flared, the 1.6.5, and I think it will be released the day after tomorrow. So today is the 16th of August, and you will receive an email with the new release in the next couple of days. The news are that we added Multicam support. So now you can easily choose which flare will follow the active camera and which won't. This works in this way. Maybe we'll have more than one camera in our scene. We'll have more than one flare too. Okay, here are three flares. Let's make them different one from each other. One flare is here. The other flare is green, okay, and the other flare is a simple flare, okay, like this. So now let's go to render view, okay. Now let's do an animation. So this is the first object that is an active cam, okay. I will look at the flares, and in this point I will put bind camera to markers. Okay, so this camera is the active camera in this point. Then I go forward of 20 frames and I will take another camera, this one. I will set this camera, set this object as an active camera. I will choose what I want to look at. Okay, I want to look at the three lamps, and as you can see now there is a problem because the flare is working on the first camera, not on this camera. Okay, anyway, I will put a marker here. Let's use one more camera, this one, at 40 frame. Okay, I will set this active camera and I will point to the lights here, okay, and I will set a camera marker. So now I have I don't care about the fourth camera, I can delete it, there are too much. The problem is that Flare didn't support the multi-camera view, because if you change from one camera to the other, all the lens flares remains attached to the first camera. So now you have this little icon here. This icon lets you choose for each flare if it will follow the active camera into the animation. So now if I will check this free flare, all the flares will move and will follow the active camera. You can see it from outside here, that the flare now is pointing to the third camera, to the second, and to the first. So if I go to the animation and I will play it, you will see that it will change in this way. You can choose eventually to have just two flares attached to the active camera and the other not. Remember, you have to move the timeline to make refresh. And another thing that we added is an option to move flare on a new view layer. So now we have this flare, and with just one function we have to select it from here. So now this flare is selected, because if you don't select, it's just active in this way. We need to select it. We can select more than one flare for this operation. You go there, and here is new view layer. As you can see, the tooltip says move selected flares on a new view layer. So if we do this, we have to name the new layer. I will name it sci-fi, just to remember sci, okay. And now we have two view layer. The one that is only the scene that you had, and the other one that is only the flare. If you want to work in the compositor, this is easy, because let's try to move to a black background. If I go to the first scene and I put this cube inside it so that we have one more object to work with. We go to render now, and we'll have two render layers. The one with the flare and the one with the scene. The scene is the cube. So let's try now to go to the compositor, to use nodes. Let's activate a view. Okay, a view nodes, and let's duplicate this, and now we have psi. So we have subdivide the scene on two render layers, and we can add a mix node just to make them work together and to have the result that we want. We have to choose a screen, I suppose. Okay, this is right. We can turn down the zoom scale. Okay, in this way you have more control because you can choose what to do about the intensity of the flare, and you can work in the compositor if you are able to do it and if you need to do it. So you can have multiple flares on multiple new layers. This is not what people was asking for, because a lot of users were looking for something to make easier to use cycle to render the scene and to use flared to render the lens flare without getting crazy duplicating the scene and making different layers. So we are developing a new feature that is not ready for 1.6.5. It will be ready in the next weeks, I don't know when, in which if you start from a cycle scene, you will be able to move your flares on new duplicated or linked scenes, and it will be easier because with just one click you'll have your flare on a duplicated scene that will be rendered in EV together with your cycles scene. Okay, here is another interesting new feature, that is this one. Now there is a problem, it doesn't work correctly. We will double check it before releasing this version. Here is created little thumbnails of your template, so you will recognize each flare by little thumbnails. Anyway, in this moment these thumbnails aren't correct. They have there is a mistake in the code, so they will not be like this. If I add new empty or other objects, just to add more, one empty, two empty, three empty, just to add more flares, you will see that each flare will have its own thumbnails. Another very important option is that now you can edit the initials that are here. With a double click you can change them if you want to change the initial to recognize your flare, and you can change also the name here. That will not modify the names in the outliner or Blender object, just modify the name here. Now, as you have already seen, we have changed this icon that was a checkbox that we used to select the flare. Remember, there is a difference between select, that is this operation, and make a flare active. This is the active flare, and as you can see now, when you make a flare active, it will be activated his origin object, light or empty or other things. That is very important because we had a lot of troubles when you have a lot of flares. Sometimes is very hard to understand where does they come from. Now I can see this flare that I'm modifying is coming from this point. Okay, this other flare is out of the screen. I think he is the light that is here. Exactly, this is the other flare that I moving. I can change its color to understand if I'm changing the correct level. Yes, it is. We changed some tooltips because there were mistakes in the tooltips. They didn't make you understand what they what this button can do, and now they are better. That's all. I'm sorry for my poor English, but I hope you have understand all the new updates about this new version of Flare. As I always say, if there are problems in the use of Flare, please write us, because we want to know your troubles, we want to know your issues. We are starting from there to make new updates of the add-on, and if you want to rate us on the Blendermarket, it will be very good, because it will help other people to know if this plugin is good or not. I hope you like it and you will rate us with a good rating. If other people will choose to buy Flare and the community will grow, it will be better supported, because we'll have much more power to put inside it. Thank you to everybody, and have a good Flare. Bye bye.